Hi, this is Stan Matthews, host of the Matthews TV broadcast and founder of the Inner Circle Professional Network. It takes a village to raise a child and a community to build healthy, wealthy businesses, professional practices, and community organizations. The Matthews TV broadcast enables urban consumers like you to support urban business owners, professionals, nonprofit and community organizations that make urban communities great places to live, work, and raise a family. So please continue to watch the Whole Person, Whole Community broadcast on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. on Comcast Xfinity Channel 190 and at the Matthews Broadcast YouTube channel. Oh yeah, and tell 10 friends to watch the broadcast too. Heartfelt thanks for your continued friendship and support.
Hi, I'm Mayor Baraka of Newark, reminding you to shop urban and shop local to save time and money, get a higher level of customer service, create jobs, and build stronger families and communities. This holiday season, remember to shop urban, shop local, and shop Newark. This holiday season, remember to shop urban, shop local, and shop Newark.
Good evening, everybody. Empower Hour, presented by the Matthews Broadcast, offers economic opportunity to business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, offering a promotional platform that showcases the products, the services, the talents of Philadelphia's very best and very brightest, encouraging viewers to shop urban, to shop small business, and to shop local. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jen Montag, your host of Empower Hour Philadelphia, and I'm so excited to welcome you to this week's segment of our show. Philadelphia's population growth is centered around millennials, women, immigrants, and minorities. Among the nation's 30 largest cities, Philadelphia has the largest percent growth in these demographic groups. There are 5 reasons why organizations are setting up shop right here in Philadelphia. Small businesses are setting up shop because there's cheap rent, let's just be honest. But cheap rent is just the beginning. The fastest growing Fortune 500 companies live here, 12 Fortune 500 companies to be exact. Also, Philadelphia is a close-knit startup community. It's large enough to compete in a global economy, but small enough for entrepreneurs to find the support that they need. Philadelphia also offers an abundant and a diverse talent pool of job candidates. There's no diversity like Philly's diversity. Last but not least, location, location, location. Philadelphia is the second largest city on the eastern seaboard, centrally located between New York and D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, the writing is on the wall. The national and the international spotlight is on Philadelphia as a top travel destination and hub for doing business. A diverse economy is a balanced economy, which is what brings us here tonight. Urban consumers in our tri-state have a whopping $385 billion to spend in purchasing power. So, ask yourselves this question. How many millionaires do we directly have the power to create in this community through proactive spotlighting, networking, and business referral efforts? I'll let you do the math.
And with that, I would like to introduce my first guest for the evening, Keith Donnell, president and founder of Modern Wealth Concepts, LLC. Keith has over 30 years of experience working directly with individuals and families as their personal financial counselor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keith, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Evening.
Thank you for having me.
Couple of more stats about Keith, more things. I don't want to toot his horn too much because he'll get into all of the details, but he's a frequent speaker and educator on various topics in personal financial management. Keith began his financial services career in the late 80s as a senior financial, in the late 1980s, as a senior financial consultant at Merrill Lynch and Company in the greater Philadelphia area, where he spent 7 years. And after leaving Merrill, he spent 12 years at Bankers Trust Company in Manhattan, and then its subsequent acquirer, Deutsche Bank, as director. And during that time, Keith worked as a financial advisor to the clients of the Global Private Bank in the US, Latin America, and Europe. Then he spent 3 years in the Los Angeles-based Capital Guardian Trust Company as senior vice president and financial counselor to various nonprofit institutions, as well as supporting high net worth families, primarily in the U.S. Keith earned an MBA from the Hobbs School of Business at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, where he currently is an adjunct professor of finance, specializing in financial planning topics, which include employee benefits administration, investment theory, portfolio management, and more. So, Keith, we're going to be talking about a variety of topics this evening.
Okay.
But I want to start out with just one question. So, you've been in financial services for the last 30 years or so.
That's right.
What has that experience been like? I know what's one heck of a question to start out with, but can you just give us an overview, please?
Well, I'm thinking right now about flights on airplanes and train rides and taxis and cities and things like that. But it really has been an eye-opening experience over the years. Being in the financial services industry, you know, it's about wealth and it's about net worth and all of the things that I never had and knew nothing about growing up. You know, I don't come from money. No one in my family ever did. And when I first started at Merrill Lynch years ago, my first real day in what they called production, there was a desk and there was a telephone, and they said, go out and find rich people and go and convince them that you should be their gatekeeper to this firm, if you will. And so a conversation started at that moment. And this is where Keith Donnell learned about wealth and about wealthy people and how they thought. And I think the biggest eye-opener for me is they were not what I thought they were. You know, and all I ever knew about wealthy people was what I saw on television. But when I started talking to them in the late 80s, it started out as the World War II generation. Those were the folks in their late 50s and early 60s, and these were the Depression babies. And so they had a definite mindset about money. They had a definite mindset about saving and investing and building wealth. And so I learned just a tremendous amount from these folks. The thing that I learned most, and I do a lot of workshops and I do a lot of public speaking on the topic of wealth. And I always ask people, you know, what do wealthy people look like? And I tell them to look in the mirror because they look just like them. Because these wealthy people, you see them across from you on the subway and you see them on the bus and they live on your street. And these are people that have learned and mastered the art of saving and investing over time.
Wow. So that's it. So that's such an interesting point that you made, that when we think about wealthy people, right? When most people think about that, they have images that flash, you know, in their mind, and the images that flash are very rarely what is real, right? So talk a little bit more about that. They're everyday people like us. They're not, you know, driving fancy cars necessarily. They don't have signs on them that say rich people. Talk a little bit more about that.
Well, there's an old saying, and so like I have all these Wall Street sayings that are always spilling out of me all the time. They just were acquired over the years. But one of the sayings that stuck in my mind very early and we learned was that the more wealth I see, the less wealth there tends to be. So if I can look at you and I can pick the wealth out of you, and how do I know? Because of the kind of car you drive and the type of jewelry you're wearing and the type of clothing. Well, those are all things that decline in value over time. And what I learned from dealing with wealthy people, and what I'm talking about are not people that inherited big money or the entertainers or the athletes that, you know, the money spigot is open and so they're just being washed with money continually. I'm talking about the plumber that starts a business, and the plumber and his wife run the business, and before you know it, there's 5 or 6 plumbers, and you know, Bling does not pay my employees when my best customer is late with the paycheck. And so these people have this mindset that I need cash, I need money available to me to pay the rent or to pay my employees. And so my Rolex, $50,000 Rolex watch, if I try to sell that, I get $500 for it, which doesn't help me very much. And so these are people that are really focused on value, okay? And so the main lesson that I learned about wealthy people, a couple of things. and I use these in my workshop. One, what I learned from them is they all tend to spend less than they make. It's just a tendency that they have. And the second thing that I learned about them is they tend to own assets that go up in value over time, which we call that investing.
So you founded this organization called Modern Wealth Concepts, LLC. So for all of the viewers out there, Keith, as you heard when I read some of the highlights of his bio, he's worked for so many different financial institutions. He has supported institutions and families both abroad and here in the U.S. He decided a decade or so ago to come back to the city of Philadelphia and founded this organization called Modern Wealth Concepts, LLC. Where did the name come from? What is unique about, what is this word modern? What's the significance of that?
Well, Jen, when I worked in the financial services industry in Wall Street and all these companies, it's as I look back on it, during my early days, I was a financial consultant, and then I became a senior financial consultant, and then I was a vice president, and then senior vice president and director, and I had all of these titles. And maybe I would go to Venezuela to meet with some bankers down there, and we would all huddle, and it would be, what are we selling? What are we trying to do? And what I started to become over time was disillusioned with it. I never got out of sales mode. We were always selling. And I think that the financial services industry kind of does a disservice to their clients because, I think 95% of it is built on sales and not built on truly helping clients to make tough decisions. Now in those days, they owned the information and they owned the access, and so you had no choice but to pay for execution and to pay up for just about everything. But now with the internet, a lot of the things that we do and what we do in Modern Wealth Concepts, what I always tell clients is that I can tell you how much it's going to cost you to retire. I can easily run those numbers, but you can get those numbers anywhere. Okay? That's not where my expertise is. My expertise comes when I help you to reorganize your finances in such a way that you can save adequately for retirement and still enjoy life. So what my goal was to take a modern approach, to get away from the commission-driven models and really just focus on helping people. And so what I say to clients all the time, and sometimes it's my toughest sale, is to say, it used to be pay for execution and the advice is free. But what I tell them now is pay for good advice and then go find the cheapest execution that you can. And with the internet, that is very possible now because you can go online and you can open up your own account. And it's amazing in some of the workshops I do. I did one for the Philadelphia School Board, and it was all tech people in there. And there wasn't a person in there over 29, 25, except me, of course. And one of the students at the end of my workshop said, "Can you tell me what's a good stock to buy?" He raised his hand, and what's a good company to invest in? And I looked at him and I said, "I should be asking you that question because you're the 25-year-old involved in tech, and you can go and you can find ideas and find great things, and you can go directly into the markets yourself. I have nothing over you when it comes to execution."
So what did he tell you?
Pardon me?
So what did he tell you?
What did he tell me? He was a little bit dumbfounded, but I'll tell you what I tell them when I get that look, is what I usually say to them is the next time you find yourself standing in line to buy some new product that just came out, rather than just stand there and wait for your turn, maybe what you do is go online and Google the name of that company, right? And find out, is this a company that I can invest in? It's okay to be a consumer, but if it's a hot new product, why not be an owner as well?
So, building wealth it's a long-term game, right? There are no casinos, right? There are no special tricks, right? This is about it's about life-changing behaviors. It's about making a conscious choice to behave in a certain way, to live a certain lifestyle, to save, to be disciplined. That's what it's all about. Keith talks a lot about financial life empowerment. What is that?
Well, financial life empowerment is being able to take control. It's as simple as that. there's a lot of things that we have to do with our money, and it's funny, I find myself doing a workshop, and my favorite workshop that I do is just on basic budgeting. It's just getting control of your cash flow, because that's what people struggle with the most. And I bet at our firm, we've done 500 budgets over the last few years. Every client that comes to us, we always start with a budget, okay? And what we do is we send out a budget worksheet and we say, fill it out and send it back. And I can look at that budget worksheet. Now, I consider it to be accurate. If you can tell me with 90% accuracy how much it costs you to live during an average month in your life. Seems simple enough, right? Most people think they can do that. But out of about 500 budgets, we've only gotten back 3 that have been 90% accurate. And that's people from all walks of life. And that's because people really don't understand how to take control of their finances. And so the first step for us with financial life empowerment is to understand where you are right now. It's like the GPS approach. When you get in your car and you start it up and you want to program your GPS to get you somewhere, the first thing that GPS does, even if you're using Google or whatever, especially Google on your phone, it'll say, do you want us to unlock your location so that we can see where you are? And so the first step is to understand where you are right now. Then once you understand that, then you can plot a course to where you're trying to go. So the first step in financial life empowerment is understanding where you are right now, right?
And
what are my goals and cash flow?
And in terms of cash flow, it requires a certain level of honesty, right? So we have to be honest with ourselves. What are we really spending? Where does the money go? I mean, when I think about my own personal situation, I can say that my budget is X. But in all actuality, I'm spending Y every week. Why is that? So, oftentimes, we want to jump to what we think is sexy, the investing and, the sophisticated plans. But at the end of the day, it starts with our behavior. And it starts with being honest about our behavior and holding ourselves to the right behaviors. So Keith, I know we're doing, there's an event that we're doing together in November 10th here at the Radisson. Saturday, November 10th from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. So talk a little bit more about the event. It's going to be focused on financial life empowerment.
Well, we're going to talk about financial life empowerment. It's going to be a full-day workshop almost, where I'm going to get a chance to just talk until I drop, maybe. Right? No, we're going to talk a lot about the steps to financial life empowerment, right? And we believe that there is a path that you can follow, like understanding your cash flow. The other part is going to be talking about how to set goals, right? How to really understand. So, as I said earlier, in these conversations that I have with wealthy people, one of the things that I also learned about them is they have a very highly developed sense of priority. And so the most important thing in managing your cash flow is making smart financial decisions. And so what I've learned is that we cannot act in a way that's inconsistent with our priorities. And so therefore, if our priorities are not properly aligned with our goals, then we're going to make financial mistakes and it's going to be a problem. So we're going to talk about all that.
So very quickly, Keith, so number one, how can we contact you? Number two, how are you planning to reach millennials and Gen Xers like me? What is your message to them? What do you want them to know? How can you help them? But first, how can we contact you?
Okay, well, the easiest way to contact me is through my website, www.modernwealthconcepts.com. And once you get onto the website, you'll see my phone number. Email is great. There's some embedded things in there that you can read and then say, contact Keith Donnell for more information. So that's a great way to reach me. Email is always best because if you call me, we're going to play phone tag. But if you send me an email, I'll get back to you, within 24 hours or so. So that's the best way to reach me.
Wonderful. What is your message to millennials and Gen Xers out there that are trying to save money, they're trying to build wealth, they're trying to take control of their future? What's the message to them? Other than they should be attending this event on Saturday, November 10th.
Well, so the first thing is you have to manage your cash flow, and that's true for everyone. And a lot of times with the millennials and the Gen Xers, where they're a little younger, their lives are not as complex right now, so it's a little easier to kind of get control, right? And you want to get control because you want to start with the primary obligation you have to yourself, which is to save for retirement. And so I do a lot of retirement planning workshops, and when I see gray hair in the room, it's very easy for me to convince those folks that they need to save for retirement because they are very in touch with the 70-year-old them. But when I'm talking to a bunch of young folks, 25 years old, 22 years old, it's very difficult for me to get them to understand the importance of putting away money. You mean I have to take somewhere between 13 and 15% of my gross income and put it away for who? The 70-year-old person that's not even here yet? So what I tell them all the time is, you know, that 70-year-old you is slowly walking their way towards you. They're slowly coming. And one day you're going to meet that 70-year-old. And the only thing I can tell you is you better have his money.
Woo.
If you don't, that's going to be a tough conversation.
Did you hear that out there, viewers? If you heard something tonight that really struck a chord, hopefully it did, please attend Financial Life Empowerment with Keith Donnell, President and founder of Modern Wealth Concepts, on November 10th at 9:30 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel, Philadelphia, Trevose, 2400 Old Lincoln Highway. You can register for the event if you go on my Facebook page. Jen Montag PHL for Philadelphia is the handle, at Jen Montag PHL, Financial Life Empowerment. Keith Donnell, it was so great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Now, all I could think of at the time was, wait a minute, you are so talented, you are so educated, you've got resources available, and we need all hands on deck. The world has problems to solve. I don't want you to leave. And by the way, you're also my friends. I don't want you to end a career feeling like you've been a failure. Well, I don't look for problems, but they find me, and this one did. I went looking for ways to help, and I found some, but they were not scalable. So I was on the lookout for something that would be. That's when I found it in an unlikely place, the fashion magazine W, from an unlikely person, my favorite superhero, Robert Downey Jr. At the time, the trailer for the first Iron Man had just been released. And so I think that's why I noticed this interview. And in it, he said he had a pit crew of people helping him out. A yoga teacher, a sensei, a psychiatrist, he named his wife. But he said, but I need a pit crew because after all, I'm not a Model T, I'm a Ferrari. And it takes more of a pit crew to keep us on the road. Now, I must have been in a snarky mood that day because I thought to myself, if you're a Ferrari, I am at least a Maserati. And you know what? You're right. It does take a pit crew. Who's mine? And how are they doing? And then after a while, I thought, uh-oh, I'm on other people's pit crews. How am I doing? Well, I had already, without realizing it, looked at pit crews for my business, but never for my personal life. So I kept a piece of paper on the kitchen counter and I wrote down people's names when they came to mind. And when I finished, I had 139 names on there. Now, my first thought was, am I high maintenance or what? And then I realized that compared to most people I know, I have a really simple life. I don't have a spouse, so there's no in-laws or his colleagues or friends on my list. I don't have children, so no teachers and coaches and orthodontists or other soccer moms. My elderly mom was healthy. She didn't need me for anything except fun and love. I didn't have a dog and I didn't have a cat. So I got incredibly more respect for people like you, Jen, who have all those people in your life and yet can go on and do something as entrepreneurial as you are now. Now, I made changes for me, and it made a difference for me. My income went up, my health got better, I had more free time for friends. People wanted to know what I was doing. I told them they had similar results. Fast forward 10 years now, and I have identified 8 different networks that support us as working adults. Now, this is intuitive, it's just hiding in plain sight. So when I say it, it's going to make total sense to you. The first 5 I call birthright networks because you were born into them. Your parents created them for you. If you have children, you're creating them for your children. First, a family network, then a health and vitality network, then an education and enrichment network, 4th, a spiritual network, and 5th, a social and community network.
Hi, I'm Mayor Frank Moran of the great city of Camden, reminding you to shop urban and shop local to save time and money, get a higher level of customer service, create jobs, and build stronger families and communities. This holiday season, remember to shop urban and shop local, shop Camden.
This holiday season, remember, shop urban, shop local, and shop Camden.
The Matthews TV broadcast spotlights urban business owners, professionals, nonprofits, and creative artists and enables them to tell their success story and get the new clients, strategic connections, and community support they need to prosper and succeed. With our audience of more than 500,000 subscribers, 500 Inner Circle strategic partners, and the Comcast Xfinity premium promotional channels, including the Oprah Winfrey Network, BET, Lifetime, and the Hallmark Family Network. So step into the spotlight for business success right now and book your spotlight or legacy interview by calling us at 732-357-5701 or booking your reservation at www.thematthewsbroadcast.com. Hi, this is Stan Matthews, host of the Matthews TV broadcast and founder of the Inner Circle Professional Network. It takes a village to raise a child and a community to build healthy, wealthy businesses, professional practices, and community organizations. The Matthews TV broadcast enables urban consumers like you to support urban business owners, professionals, nonprofit and community organizations that make urban communities great places to live, work, and raise a family. So please continue to watch the Whole Person, Whole Community broadcast on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. on Comcast Xfinity Channel 190 and at the Matthews Broadcast YouTube channel. Oh yeah, and tell 10 friends to watch the broadcast too. Heartfelt thanks for your continued friendship and support. The Matthews TV broadcast spotlights urban business owners, professionals, nonprofits, and community leaders and enables them to tell their success story and get the clients, connections, coaching, and community support they need to prosper and succeed. With our audience of more than 450,000 subscribers and 2,500 Inner Circle strategic partners on the Comcast Xfinity and our own online streaming platform. So step into the spotlight and profit from our platform today by calling us at 732-357-5701 or book your interview at www.thematthewsbroadcast.com.
Hi, I'm Samut Scott of Mama Yoga's Wellness Coaching, and I am profiting from the platform.
Hello everyone, I'm Tony Brooks from Brooks Wealth Strategies Group, and I'm profiting from the platform.
I'm Leslie Carter of 4E Newspaper, and I'm profiting from the platform.
Hi everyone, I'm Sherman Riggins from the Riggins Coaching Institute, and I'm profiting from the platform.
Hi, I'm Tina Drew of StateConnectedTech.com, and I am profiting from the platform.
Hi, I'm Bill Owens from Lucas Ford, and I'm profiting from the platform.
Hi, I'm Ralph Henderson of Resource Financial, and I am profiting from the platform.
Hi, my name is Brian Fleming of Spring Hill Financial Solutions, and I am profiting from the platform.
I'm Victoria Hepburn of VictoriaHepburn.com, and I am profiting from the platform.